work to make this world a better place for ourselves, our children, and our grandchildren.
Hi, how y'all doing? This is Phil Kelly. Today we're filming this. It's July 19th. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon while we're filming this. We were supposed to be going to court today to help save ourselves and the boaters from having their boats impounded. Richard Johnson, you're a boater too, right? But Richard Johnson and I today are going to be talking about how we can learn to improve ourselves. And Richard Johnson teaches seminars about, what do you call your seminars, John?
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. So you can learn how to improve the hard way or the easy way. The easy way is less painless. You study and you try to improve yourself and you try to not make the mistakes. The hard way, right, is learning by our mistakes, and that can cause a lot of pain. So I don't know if any of you have ever experienced pain, but maybe sometimes when I experience pain I think, well, maybe I deserve it, I don't know. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about these kind of things, because I know I have a lot of room for improvement and I got a lot to learn, so here I am.
Well, Phil, we all have a lot of room for improvement. Many times, however, we don't take responsibility for our own improvement, and we tend to get distracted by life itself, so that we spend more time being distracted, and we build the wrong side of ourselves, and we don't spend enough time developing ourselves. Now, you can look at a tennis player and tell right away whether that tennis player has been taught properly on how to play tennis, or whether he's taught himself without any help, just by looking at the way they practice and the way they hit the ball. Now, many times we lose jobs, we lose friends, we lose wives, because we get caught in situations where we're untrained, unskilled to handle the world that's confronted us. Now, that world all depends upon how we see ourselves and how other people see us. For example, look at this chart. It's just a simple dot. But what does the dot mean? More importantly, how you see that dot and where you place it is important. Let me ask you, where is that dot?
It's a little bit above center when you look at the top and the bottom, and it looks like it's pretty much centered from side to side on that sheet of paper.
Believe it or not, most of the people who are watching this program would say pretty much the same thing. But again, if you say most people are the same, but we all see ourselves as different. We all see ourselves as unique, but we say pretty much the same things, we do pretty much the same things, and we fall into the same traps. So it's our perspective that's important. This dot actually is on a piece of paper in a studio in Honolulu, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, on the planet Earth, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah,
so
nice.
It's your perspective that's important.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yes. We don't want to walk through life looking at the tops of our shoes. We want to raise our headlights and see what's in front of us, see the future, and grow for the world that we're going to come in contact with. Now, this dot just illustrates that most people think they're different, but they say pretty much the same thing. We don't need that any longer. So what are these people that we're talking about? Quite simply, if we said, this is a grid. Everyone who was ever born or died or is alive today is on this grid. Everyone in this studio is on this grid. This grid has two levels. Over here we have people. Down here we have things. A person who cares very little about people and very little about things would be down in this corner. We may know some of them. A person who is thing-oriented, where things are the most important thing in their lives, that sounds redundant, and people have very little impact on their life, this is their primary motivation, then we'd say they were on this side of the grid.
Just like material things.
Very materialistic. Up in this corner, we have people who care tremendously about other people, but they don't care about things. We can identify these people by how they dress, how they walk, how they talk, and what they do. For example, this person who doesn't care about other people or other things may be lying in a hospital, in bed. In fact, you may be in a dentist chair. A dentist chair then would put you in a situation where you only care about one thing, yourself. No people, no things. However, you can get out of that dentist chair and jump in your Volkswagen bus with your 8 children, your 4 dogs and 2 cats. Where is this person on the grid already, Phil? He's got a Volkswagen bus, a big a huge family.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of material things, but he has a nice family.
All right, so he's way up here on the grid. Now, down here in the corner, we have a Mercedes-Benz, no children, okay? No dogs, no cats. What color carpet is in this house?
Probably red.
Red? How about white?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if you're married to a woman who's thing-oriented, can you smoke in the house?
Probably not.
No. No. Do you have to take a shower at precisely the time that you're supposed to? You better believe it. Do your socks have to be all lined up in your drawer? Yes, they better be. So you can see where conflicts can occur. People tend to stay around people that they're comfortable with. So generally speaking, these people hang around with each other. These people stay around each other. If you went to a large seminar or a large gathering, a high school reunion or whatever, and you had doctors, lawyers, accountants, social workers, and you mix them all up, eventually, if you had enough time, they'd all separate and turn into their individual groups. Because we tend to seek others who
we have a lot in common.
A lot in common with them, so to speak. The conflicts that we have in life, you can see what would happen. If we had a married couple who were down here in the corner, they don't have anything. They don't have any money, they don't have a house, they don't have a car. They're just down here in this corner, happy as clams. No problem. Now, a couple who are people-oriented, they don't care about things. They see things the same way. Again, there are no problems. Even this couple in the corner, she has her Mercedes, he has his BMW. They may go in separate places for their vacations, but there are no real problems. Where the problems occur is when we mix them up. And the typical mix-up is a people-oriented female with a thing-oriented male. Can you see what's happening already? Her complaints will be something like, you don't care about us and the kids. His complaints would be something like, you don't appreciate what I go through every day to make money so that you're able to have the things to comfort you and the children. He complains about dinner not being ready. She complains about him being late.
And about him complaining.
And him complaining. So the conflicts are natural. And these conflicts need to be resolved. And when we come out of the womb, so to speak, and we grow to people, we are trained. And we develop a technical competence, and that technical competence pushes us in this direction, thing-oriented, particularly males, and today in our society, females. We're making them thing-oriented. You must be a technically competent individual to survive in our environment. Lawyers, doctors, dentists, all of the professions move in this direction. The military is here very strongly. The civil engineers are here very strongly.
But what makes people change from...
What makes people change? So you become a technical individual, you get a job as a technical individual, you do a good job, and you're provided an opportunity to become a supervisor. So now all of a sudden you are placed in a situation where you have to work not with tools, but with people. And the mistake is for this new supervisor to treat people as tools. And when he does that, of course, there's a reaction of the people. They start complaining to his supervisor and say, oh, wait a minute, he can't treat us that way. We're not tools, we are people. Mm-hmm. So the supervisor then comes to you, Phil, and says, well, you're our new manager, but you cannot work these people as hard. We want you to be more lenient with them. So, Phil, you say, all right, everybody, let's come to my house on Saturday. The wife will throw on some ahi on the Barbie, and we will have a great Saturday and talk story. Talk story is very people-oriented.
Yeah.
So here we are, where you were in this corner, and what's happened to you? All of a sudden, you've been forced up to this corner. And being forced up to this corner, what happens to production?
Goes way down.
It goes down. Production takes a dive because now you're spending more time with the people, not enough time at work. So now what's the complaint going to be?
Well, you know, I always think about the problem that is quite typical where people spend so much time talking about things that they wear themselves out and they don't have energy left to do anything after that. You know,
that's
a problem.
Too. That can happen. In this case, production has dropped off. Now the supervisor, your boss, comes to you, Phil, and he says, now wait a minute, what's happened here? All of a sudden the production is dropping off. The people love you. So here we have confusion.
Yeah.
And you're a young person and you can't figure it out. Why, all of a sudden, am I pulled in this yo-yo effect between things and people? But what happens to us in life is we make this transition and we bounce back and forth.
Yeah. And we learn.
And we learn the hard way. And,
but you know some easy ways, right?
There are some easy ways.
Well, we'll get into some of those easy ways. We have to take a little station break, you know. And we hope you guys will buy our product sometime. I haven't sold any of these. Okay, here we are, and we're real fortunate to have Richard Johnson here with us. We got to see if we can get something out of this, myself and everybody that's listening, because Richard knows how to teach people something about how to improve themselves. And if we can improve ourselves, we can have an easier life in the future. Isn't that right, Richard?
Well, getting back to the tennis game again.
Yeah.
You can develop your own skills, your own behavioral skills yourself. That makes you a product of unskilled labor.
Unskilled, huh?
Or
yeah.
You can be taught by a professional who's in the business of teaching tennis or teaching behaviors,
yeah.
behavioral skills that cause you to be effective in dealing with the world that you're confronted with.
I sure would like to be able to know how to be effective to deal with the world that I'm confronted with. I'll tell you, that'd be nice.
Well, unfortunately, we tend to try to get everything quickly. Give us the quick answer. Give us the shortcut. What we are dealing with here is individual behavior. How we see ourselves and how we see other people and how they see us is very important. They explain this simply by saying, that's who you think you are, strong, virulent, kind, sincere, effective, dynamic, exciting. Oh, yeah.
Not all the time.
Oh, well, generally speaking, that's how you see yourself. However, other people may see you as kind of like your son sees you, or a judge, or some people who you've had conflicts with might not see you the same way. Well, this isn't accurate, and neither is this accurate. Neither one of these two viewpoints are accurate. Somewhere in between, there's another circle, and that's reality. But you're the one who has control over this environment. Your attitude is the only thing that you can change. It's the only thing that no one else can change. It's something that you have total control over, but most people do very little about developing their own attitudes.
And developing the control, because sometimes it's hard to control your emotions. It's not easy, right?
Well, it's not easy if we're not comfortable with ourselves. Comfort is very, very important. With comfort comes confidence and a bunch of other things. But there are tools. Let me give you one tool.
Okay.
Just one tool. Here it is. You control this word, it's possible you could control the world, or make a major, not control it, but make a major contribution to it. This one word causes more damage, more conflict, more anger, more deceit, more avarice, more jealousy, more pain than any word in the English language. In fact, beware of people, all people, even preachers, who use this word. It's a fallacy, because by the use of this word, you're saying you believe in yourself. You believe in no one else but yourself. You believe in your own goals, your own ideas, and your own plans, your programs, and your life. And there's no room in it for anyone else. Want to make a major change in your life? You can start right now by eliminating the use of that word and start using this word, we. Make everything you do in concert with those around you. Build yourself through others. When they say a butterfly that flaps its wing in Singapore can eventually cause a hurricane in the Caribbean, if you have enough time, everything is connected and it will happen. These people who say I deny any other entity. These people are saying that butterfly's flap can cause the hurricane in the Caribbean, and we really are spiritually, physically, emotionally, environmentally all connected. We're part of the same universe, we're part of the same God, etc. Now what you'll find when you try to use this word will be you'll get tongue-tied. And you can't do it alone. You need someone to work with you. And you say to your loved one, you say, darling or hubby, every time this person uses this word, remind me of it. And don't let me get out of this. Let's make a contract. Let's make a contract. Do you agree right now you will not use this word again?
Well, I can try to avoid. Oops, I did it. I failed. See?
Well, we're going to try.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's amazing what happens to people when you just give them a simple tool. They say, well, tell me what to do. Well, this is what to do. Now go ahead and do it. The biggest mountains are the toughest to climb for others, but the easiest for us. Now,
and how are the mountains easier for us? That's the question.
Everything we do in life, let's call this life, has a bill. Occasionally, there'll be times where everything is on the table. All the chips are there. Maybe that's true with you. Maybe it's true with someone else watching this tape. All the chips are on the table right now. What you say and what you do in the next 5 minutes could determine whether you lose your wife, lose your child, lose your family, lose your job, lose your company. What you do next. Are you prepared? Are you trained to handle that situation? And that arena is the highest cost that we have in life, that one arena. Now, believe it or not, there are 32 things that you will say wrong, minimum of 32 things that you will say that will cause you to lose in this arena. 32. Most of us pick up one here, one there, one here, one there, over a period of 20 years. Can't do that. That cost me a job in 19 blah, blah. So finding out what those 32 things are is very important. But what drives all of that is an attitude, not a technique. Life is an attitude, not a technique. That's the highest cost of life, that little arena. Most of us are never prepared to deal with it. After the fact, we look back and we say, shouldn't have said, shouldn't have done, shouldn't have gone, shouldn't have risked.
Yeah.
Should have, should have, should have.
And all this is from being controlled by your emotions too much, maybe.
Well, again, getting back to the tennis player or the golfer. If we gave you a golf club and you've never handled a golf club and you run out to the golf club course and you hit a ball, where's the ball going to go? You might be standing right there on the tee. It's not going to go anywhere. Or if you hit it, it might go off in the corner. So the mistake that we make as people is we expect development to occur automatically. It doesn't occur automatically. We have to work at it. We have to do a better job of controlling the only thing, building the only thing, developing the only thing that we have, and that's ourselves. And we don't spend enough time doing that. What we do is we react to the world that we're confronted with. We have to go to work. We have to eat breakfast. We have to jump in the car. We have to make the commute to the job. We have to sit in the office for 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 hours, and then we have to drive home. By the time you get down to the end of the day, you might only have about 5 or 10 minutes to yourself to really develop yourself, and here you are, you've got the opportunity, what do you do with it? And many times, we don't do anything with it. We watch television. So is it any wonder that the world is in chaos? Is it any wonder that the world is confused? Is it any wonder that the people that we look as leaders really aren't? Where are our leaders? They haven't been doing their homework.
Yeah. So I think everybody should have an opportunity to give you a call and find out about your seminars. There's 35 fancy things that we can learn about that will help us have a better time in life and help us be more successful and get along better with our family, right? It's real important to get along good with your family. That's a good starter, right? If you can get along good with your family.
Well, it's a beginning.
That's important. That's your family. So we got your number on the screen. Why don't you say your number and tell a little bit about, we got about 1 minute left probably.
Well, our number is 955-808-955-3612. Call us, we'll give you information. Life involves talking to, listening to, handling difficult situations, reading other people, nonverbal communications, all of those things tie together that represent your behavior. How you develop those skills and capabilities determines how you're going to perform in the arena of life where all the chips are. And your job could depend upon it. Your company's future could depend upon it.
And reading other people, that's a real important thing. I mean, that can really be helpful. Me, I get taken advantage of by crooks every time I turn around.
That they're reading you.
Yeah, I guess so. And I always say if I was more smart, life would be more easy, you know? So we all go through different things, but if we know what to expect from people, and gee, if, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people that are crooks, you know, and I always try to be optimistic, but now I'm starting to get pessimistic, you know, because of the experiences. But when when you see somebody that's a crook and they say, oh, but he's real nice, you know, that's what makes a con man a good con man. If he's real nice and he's a crook.
That's right.
If he's not real nice, he's not a good con man. So reading people can really help us, but then we have to be able to see ourselves also, and mainly we have to get along real good with our family, because that's the most precious thing, especially to teach our kids how to grow up and avoid the problems that we had to go through because we didn't know any better, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So Richard said I could go to his thing for free with my wife, and maybe I could bring one of or two of my kids if he lets me. So
You're welcome.
so it sounds like a pretty good, interesting thing. I mean, hopefully it can help us all. That's the most important thing. We got a few minutes left, seconds left. We'll see you guys next week. Actually, we're on Friday morning at 8 a.m. also.
For further information regarding this program, please contact the Investigative Reporter, P.O. Box 1019, Waianae, Hawaii 96792, or call area code 808-948-0705. Contributions towards the funding of this program will help ensure that the Investigative Reporter continues to provide the people of Hawaii with an independent view of important public issues so that we can preserve our constitutional freedoms.